How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another video. So as anybody that has seen some of my past videos before knows, a lot of the comics and runs I collect, I prefer to keep all of the main runs raw. Both so I can take the books out, enjoy them, it's easier to store, it takes up less space, and it's just more enjoyable that way. However, for some of the big books, whether it be a famous iconic cover, a first appearance, those ones I prefer to have graded in my collection, and I kind of keep them separate. It helps for a variety of reasons. One is that I am not too proficient on grading, and I don't have a whole lot of local places near me that really carry some of the bigger books I'm into. So if I'm buying a book online, I really want to make sure I'm getting the book that I'm paying for, especially where some of these books, once you go up by half a grade to a grade, it gets more and more expensive, and some semblance of a grade does matter. So with that, and I'm doing a lot of online shopping, I tend to buy these graded already. Also because on the collecting side, I have my reading side. On the collecting side of myself, I very much want to have the best copy that I can in my collection that's within my means. So if I decide down the road I want to sell a copy, upgrade it, trade it, having it graded for that purpose just makes it easier to do that. I also can list it online, and there's no arguing about what somebody might think the grade is. It is already there, it's set in stone. So, with all that said, for the most part, I've taken a huge break, and I've really pumped the brakes when it comes to a lot of the comic buying and big purchases, both because I had some bigger books I had tracked down, and I needed to kind of let my wallet recoup from all of that. I'm also still in some of my other hobbies. As you can see on my Instagram, Pokemon is a very big one, and I've very much been enjoying that right now and taking a little break from comics. I have already picked out what the next bigger book I'm gonna get is, and I already have my sights on it. I already have the fund going for it, so I'm hoping to get that one within a month. I'll have my next bigger book for my comic collection. But where I've kind of hit the brakes on a lot of the books coming in, there's not as much to share with you guys, so I thought it would be fun to go back and look at my current Batman graded collection. So this is going to be anything from the Batman title or Detective Comics, as well as one random one I have in there that I just associate with Batman because of what it is. So the last time I did this video, I believe, was one of the first videos on my channel when I was going over my Batman collection in its entirety, and I've gotten a lot more books since then, as well as, you can see right here, a hefty stack of slabs that's just Batman related compared to where I was. At some point, I'm also thinking about doing an updated graded DC first appearance, first Silver Age appearance collection, because I think since I did that video, also I think one of the first ones of my channel, I have added to it quite a bit or upgraded, and it would be cool to see where we currently stand now. So while I've still got some daylight outside and no windows in this room but that one, let's go ahead and get into these. Alright, so starting off, we have Dark Knights Death Metal. This is Legends of the Dark Knights. It's a one-shot that came out. This is a CGC 9.8 white pages. And the significance of this is it is the origin and first appearance of the Robin King. If you just want a fun, good time, full of characters, and a lot of bonkers, the Death Metal and the regular Metal run, I highly recommend for that. The story isn't as tight, but the fun is through the roof because of it, which is kind of what Scott Snyder was going for on that run. So this is just a really cool one and a really affordable one. If you're into these characters and looking for some first appearances to grab that won't break the bank, this one is very much up there. Alright, and now as we get into the Batman and Detective Comics, I'm going to go from newest down to oldest. So starting out, we have Batman 579, 9.8 white pages, and this is the first appearance of Orca, otherwise known as Dr. Grace Balin. So this one and the next one are two random newer first appearance books that I got from James at Mint Hunter Comics. He, like myself, really enjoys getting the most obscure first appearances in high condition and grading them just because you never see them, and that is quite the image of Orca right there on the cover. Full glory right now. So absolutely cool book. This one also has a beautiful back cover to go with it, Batman Got Milk, Be a Dark Knight. So really cool addition to the collection with this one right here. Batman number 535 is another obscure one that I ended up getting from James of Mint Hunter Comics. Also in a 9.8 white pages. While you can't really see him on the cover, it's a fold-out. This is actually the first appearance of the character, the Ogre, whose giant arm you can see right here, and this actually folds out into a beautiful art display. So I have this in a raw copy as well, but I have it buried in my boxes, but just a really cool, obscure first appearance in a Batman title. Then we have Batman 423, the classic, iconic Todd McFarlane Batman cover, only in an 8.0 white pages, but I got it for a screaming good deal. So for now, I am absolutely more than happy to have this copy in my collection. Again, whether you love it or hate it because the lack of autonomy that makes sense, the fact that there's not a whole lot going on but giant cape, some people love it for that, some people hate it for that, but either way, it is now a staple in the run. Then we have Batman 244. This is one of the most iconic Neal Adams covers that he did in his Batman run. It is so hard to say that because every single one of his covers is just about a knockout, but this 9.2 white pages, no real key significance going on except for the fact of the cover itself being so classic and so iconic. This is one of the first few Batman graded ones I ended up adding to my collection. This is honestly the book too where I was teetering on whether or not to get it because again, that line between first appearances, covers where I was going for my collection, but this one I decided I very much wanted it in the best grade I could get. I wanted it graded so I could assure I got that grade, and I am extremely happy with this copy. Batman and Ra's al Ghul in the desert fighting to the death. It just doesn't get more beautiful than this. And I believe it is Josh from Josh's Comics, who when I first got this was the one that commented, I was always so enamored with the cover that I had never noticed. Batman still has his cowl on and is wearing his pants, but as Ra's al Ghul is holding up his suit, very much has the pants still attached with the underoos, which makes you really wonder, does Batman really double up as he goes out fighting crime? Think about that. Then we have Batman 181 in a 7.0 off-white to white pages, the first appearance of Poison Ivy, Pamela Lillian Isley. So this one is one that I recently acquired that kind of when I went on my bigger spending spree set me back a little bit. I knew that I wanted one with the centering as good as I could get, so the spine not wonky, not too much white showing. And I wanted to get as high a grade as I could also because I wanted the red, that kind of red-orange of the cover to go as unbroken and be the star as possible. But this one also, the deepness of the colors was highly important. This one has very good colors, very good shine, and it actually presents much, much better than a 7.0. Because looking up the grader's comments, one of the things holding it back is there was writing on, I forget if it was the inside of the front cover or the front page. So this one, because of that, if you're going to get a graded book, is exactly what you want because it grades out at a 7, but it looks way, way better. I also have always wondered, and I'm teetering on trying to find out if I want to crack this at some point. Because writing on the first page or the inside cover is typically where somebody would sign the book. So there's a chance if I crack it, it has a pretty decent signature of somebody that worked on the book, or it could just be some kid that scribbled on it. I'm so torn, and we'll see if I end up caving, but that is the dilemma I'm facing. This book can also be tricky because it does come with a pinup by Infantino and Anderson that a lot of people ripped out. So finding one in decent grade with the pinup can also be an extra challenge, but absolutely a beautiful book. Next up, we have Batman 126 in a 6.0 cream to off-white pages. This is the first appearance of the Firefly, Ted Carson. Now, not to be confused, this is not the first appearance of the Firefly overall. That, I believe, was an earlier Detective Comics issue. This is simply the first appearance of this version of Firefly. So, just a really cool early book. 10 center on there from 1959. Still a first appearance with plenty of covers on there to boot. Beautiful book. All right, the first book we have for Detective Comics is issue 405, 9.2 white pages. This is the first appearance of the League of Assassins. So this is another one. I've mentioned it every single time I have a Neal Adams that fits into this category. I always bring it up. But this brings up everything that I love about his style. The way he always has Batman in danger, up out of sight, in a vantage point of some kind of crowd or a mob or people hunting him. But this one especially, where it is not a very large tree. You can tell it's in the water, in the swamp. The League of Assassins are coming from this field with no other shelter, so it's just Batman in this one tree. That giant moon, not a cloud in the sky, casting the light across the logo on his chest, already kind of giving away his position. You know any second as they get closer, he's gonna be discovered. It's that little bit of tension right there. And I just love everything that Neal Adams chose to do with this cover. So it being a first appearance on top is just the cherry. But absolutely beautiful. Another one that I knew for sure, because of how dark green the cover is, that I really wanted one with as near perfect a spine wrap as I could get. Just so none of the white from the back was peeking through, I wanted that nice, harsh, dark green line, just so all of the art was framed perfectly. Was super happy to finally get this one. Then we have Detective Comics 400 in a 9.0 white pages, origin and first appearance of Man-Bat, and we also have the first Robin and Batgirl team-up story, as well as the 400th anniversary issue. So again, doesn't get better than this. You have not a Silver Age first appearance, but an actual first appearance. Both characters on the cover, looming over the city. And for everything I just said about the last book we had up here, same thing goes for this, where I wanted as near perfect a spine as I could get, just so none of the back cover was showing through the front. This one is one of the newer ones I've been able to add to the collection, but absolutely super happy. I've kind of become, with these later Neal Adams books, a little bit of a white page snob, where now that I've able to get them, my goal is at least a 9.0 or higher, but have a 9.0 be the bottom line. But I've also kind of tasked myself with holding out and trying to get perfect centering or damn near, as well as white pages, and it's become a little bit of an OCD thing where I had a couple other books come up for great prices, but they didn't fit all the criteria I really wanted, so I held off. So for now, though, this one I'm super happy to have. It'll just make getting the other books I need that much more difficult. Then we have Detective Comics 373 and a 6.0 off-white pages. This is the second appearance of Mr. Freeze, and while it doesn't say it, this is actually the first time he is called Mr. Freeze. Before that, in his first appearance, he was actually called Mr. Zero. So this book still hadn't quite polished his look off, but it gets a little bit closer. Awesome ice cover showcasing all of his glory right here. It's just an absolutely fun, beautiful book. And again, just the way that you have the nice green oranges come on there. I love the color choices they use for a lot of Silver Age books. It makes them pop so much more. The use of that black background with the colors is even better. This one, while it's a 6.0, presents very beautifully, but I believe it has a pop staple down here, which contributes to the grade. So again, not a super expensive book anyway, but for a graded one, at least if you're going to have a pop staple, it's graded encapsulated, so it's not going to further get damaged. So super happy to have this. Alright, along with the first Poison Ivy, this was part of the haul I got that again kind of set me back. So we have Detective Comics 359, 7.0 off-white pages, the origin and first appearance of Batgirl, Barbara Gordon, as well as a Killer Moth appearance. So this one is another one that I knew I had wanted in my collection. Of course, for a Batman fan, you have to have it for the longest time. It was just a matter of settling on a grade I was happy with, both that I could afford if I was careful, as well as I would be happy with the presenting quality. So this one in a 7.0, I am absolutely happy. I love the deep, rich, almost like that maroonish, purplish plum that you have of the cover. Absolutely phenomenal. It holds true with the spine wrap, where it is just about a near perfect wrap. You have a slight little bit of white going on, but I'm okay with that. The fact that you have her
Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, front and center on the cover. She's the focus, she's the star. I am absolutely stoked to have this copy in my collection. Unless my living situation changes or the right one for the right price comes along, I never feel the need to upgrade this copy. I am absolutely 100% satisfied, and this book is just incredible. Then we have Detective Comics 358 in a 9.2 white pages. This is the first appearance of Spellbinder, Delbert Billings. I could be wrong, but I think in the Batman Beyond series they called him Ira Billings. Either way, I really wanted this book because I am a huge fan of Batman the Animated Series as well as Batman Beyond. Everything everything they did with both of those runs is absolutely incredible. And I've been trying to get any first appearances I can. And the fact that Spellbinder went this far back into the Batman mythos was absolutely incredible. Modified him and they modernized him for the episode, obviously, but still. A first appearance, a character from a show I loved, as well as another gorgeous Infantino cover, centering pretty good with 9.2 white pages. This book was another one that didn't break the bank compared to everything else, was decently affordable, and I was extremely happy to finally get this book in the collection. Alright, now we're getting old. We have Detective Comics 298 in a 5.5 off-white pages. This is the origin and first appearance of the Silver Age Clayface, Matt Hagen. And so, not to be confused with the first Silver Age appearance of the character, this is the first appearance of this version of the character, who was the version in the Silver Age. So the Golden Age Clayface, I don't remember the exact background, but essentially I believe was an actor who just wore a mask, who was essentially a killer, went on a little spree. Whereas this version of Clayface, Matt Hagen, in addition to being the version we got in Batman the Animated Series, is very much the version where he is quite literally made of clay, can mold his body, and is the one that most of us come to think of now when we think of Clayface. So, this book is extremely hard to get in higher grade. This book is actually pretty pricey in any grade when compared with a lot of books, which I wonder if it's an age thing as well as getting it in good condition, because compared to some other people, he's not as big of a character, still a really cool character, and I think that certain games did utilize him very well, but absolutely happy to have this 5.5, that deep purple with that yellow moon background, awesome cover, and you think this would be it, but I have one more book that is even older than this, and our final book, and that book is Detective Comics 74. This is a Crowley copy. It is from 1943, and off-white pages, I don't remember if I said, but 7.5, and this is the first appearance of Tweedledee and Tweedledum. This book is another random obscure book that I wanted just for the sake of, again, I love the most random, most obscure villains that you can get for a character. I really, really love Alice in Wonderland. I love the books. I love what they did with the movies, all of it. I just love that world and living in it. And so the fact that we have two of the most random characters in a Golden Age 1943 book, a pedigree copy, decently graded, 7.5 off-white pages, both of the first appearances right on the cover. This is one of the jewels of my collection for myself. It took me forever to both find a copy available in general, but also one that wasn't just priced ridiculously. So this book I got for what I consider was a very good price. And this is one again where I brought this up when I first bought it, and I know a lot of people mentioned don't crack it because there's a good chance that you're going to lose the grade on it. But it's just the fact, too, of not even that I think it would press out to a better grade, but just how flimsy this earlier gen case of CGC is. It feels like the slightest gust is going to kind of blow and bust it apart. And for a book this awesome, this old, I just wish it was in something a little sturdier. But either way, here we have it, Detective Comics 74, first appearance of Tweedledee Tweedledum, the final book I have in my entire graded Batman and Detective Comics collection. This one, again, one of my pride and joys. I was extremely stoked to finally get it. Just beautiful.
So there we have it, everybody. Just a quick, fun video showing through some of the classics, some of the new pickups while I'm in between my buying stages right now, kind of recollecting myself, enjoying some of my other hobbies. There's a very good chance my next video might be Pokemon related, so just warning anybody out there. But as always, if you enjoy what I do here, what I show here, but you want to see more without as much of the talking, please check out my Instagram, Conlin's Comics, where there's just a lot more small random pickups I'm doing, comic related and other, and just a little bit more of myself and my interests. But hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing this video. Catch you all until next time.